Go to
How
Tracey
are you
Brown
guys?
Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live.
Hi, Maristine.
Gals
Hi,
and
Reginald.
guys. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live.
So, welcome, Sherryton. How do you pronounce your name? Let me sure I can get it.
Sherryton. Is that O is silent? Yeah, Sherryton.
Sherryton.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me, Tracy.
I'm so excited. So, it's British. Where are you from, actually? Not like right now. Where are you?
I'm in London, but I'm London born and bred.
You're London born and bred.
Oh yeah, my family have been here for like 4 generations. So I'm British.
Wow. You are British. Okay, because I put in the title the British Invasion. And then in my ignorance, I'm like, is London and British the same thing? But I wanted to take a nap, and I was like, no, I'm gonna leave it. And if I'm wrong, Sherryton. Tell me, pronounce your name one more time.
Sherryton.
Sherryton can tell me. So I wasn't worried, but I knew it. I know things. I'm smart, Sherryton. I'm smart.
You are smart, Tracy. Don't say that in jest. You are smart.
I am. I'm telling you, I am. She's like, So, what brings you to the table? Like, this is like red table, right? This is like psychic red table, right? They didn't start the red table. We started it, right? Don't even. They copied me. Okay. What
Everybody
brings you
copies
to
Tracy.
the... I know. I'm trying to tell you. Everybody copies me. Oh my God. What brings you to the table? How did you get here?
That's a really good question. Crumbs. Okay, I don't even know where to start. Oh, thank you, Brett, darling. You're so sweet. But I don't really know where to start. Hey, Marie. Right. Okay. Where do I start? Right from the beginning, from a very young age, I always felt an awareness that there was more.
Yes.
I would have dreams that would come true.
Oh, the dreams. Yes.
The dreams. I was big on the dreams as a child.
Yes.
And even in my teenage years, I would get flashes of things, conversations, situations, and they would happen.
Yeah.
So I've kind of always been metaphysical.
Yes.
I explored it a bit more in my 20s. And
how did you explore it? How did you get there? Because people have a hard time getting there. And that's why I showed up, right? I showed up because I'm like, you're not crazy. Anybody out there. Like, no, you see spirits, you see ghosts. You're not crazy anymore. Right? Okay. So we want to be able to, so I want to know like every step. Walk me through your life.
Okay. As I said, in my 20s, I kind of got a bit more interested in things like astrology and other forms of divination, although I never looked at cards or anything like that. And then I had some traumatic things happen in my life.
Which is very normal for metaphysical people.
Yeah, I mean, I'd had some traumatic things happen before, but then it's just like, oh my gosh.
Let me tell you something, Sherryton. I almost died twice.
There you go.
Before the age of 10, I almost died twice. Besides having traumatic things happen in my life. But that's normal. And I want everyone to kind of understand that metaphysical people go through things.
We do. We really do.
So finish up. I'll be interrupting you a lot. I apologize. It's my method. At some point, I make it
That's
all
okay.
about me. I forget you're even in the room.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I have no problem with that. That's okay, because I talk too much anyway. That's fine. I haven't got a problem with that.
It works.
It works. So basically, as I said, I had some traumatic things happen to me in my mid-20s that really shifted me in a huge way, and it made me restless and become very insular. And then I had a nervous breakdown,
Oh.
and I was on medication. Tried to avoid it for years, but you know.
Yeah.
And as time progressed, and I still wasn't really dealing with the trauma. Part of my issues were I could deal with other people's emotions. I couldn't deal with my emotions.
Yeah.
So whereas I was always very kind of, I wouldn't say stable, just kind, but because I wasn't unstable. Everything was always very measured for me.
Okay.
I things would happen and I wouldn't react like your average person. I would try to contain my anger, contain my emotions, contain.
Until
Until in my mid-30s they exploded. And if I thought the first breakdown was terrible, the second one was absolutely knocked me out. I was homeless for about 10 months, even though technically I had a home because of asbestos.
Oh.
And that knocked me for six. Totally knocked me out.
Yeah, that would do that to anyone.
It was after that and the recovery from that I got back in to my metaphysical feelings.
I don't know how you found your way back. How did you find your way back?
There was a couple things. I saw a reader, I think it was 2001 or 2002. She said to me quite a few things that came to pass. She said to me that my health would spiral downwards. And she also said to me, and this I haven't told you, Tracy, she said to me that at some point she saw me reading cards. And I thought, no, that's not going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
But this is nearly 20 years later, and what am I doing?
Absolutely.
But also, there's been a number of other things that have helped me along the way. And I have to say, Tracy, you were one of them.
Thank you.
Truly. I didn't tell you before, but you were one of them.
Thank you.
So,
I honor the presentation and the call that I remembered, right? Because you don't know like who you're gonna be. People tried to stop me. You're this, you're that, you know, all the names. I got all the church names, right? But I honor plowing through all of that. I now know I would have been so disappointed, you know, if I didn't wake up.
Yeah.
I now know that. I love being this awoke.
Yeah.
I actually like myself being this awoke.
That's important. It's important that you like yourself.
Yeah, but it's how I got there that helped me to like myself, because it's part of a discipline, right? Like when you're on your spiritual quest, evil exists.
Yeah.
Right? And so evil doesn't want you on your spiritual quest. Evil begins to say, I need to make you homeless. I almost got an eviction, right? At some point, my landlord said to me, Tracy, like, you're having trouble. And I was like, yeah. And they were like, just give us back the apartment. And I was like, yeah. But by this time, my sister wasn't living with me. My son had moved out already. And so it was just me in a very large apartment. And it just seemed so selfish of me. So I called one of my best friends and I was like, listen, I wasn't asking her anything for anything. I was like, I'm going through this situation. And she's like, listen, my husband is threatening me. And he's telling me if I don't get back to Arizona, I'm going to be homeless. And her daughter and her had an apartment in California because the daughter wanted to be an actress. And she said, take a room. Take a room. And so I did. I took a room, and it turns out the whole house, at the time, it's not going to make sense now because weed is legal in California. But at the time, I was in a full weed house.
Oh, my goodness.
And if you don't know weed, it smells.
Especially skunk.
It attracts the walls, like it attaches onto the walls. And I did this, and I said to God, and I guess it's a form, now that I'm thinking about it, it might have been a form of homelessness. I just never thought about it until just now. And I said to God, what the hell am I doing here? But that location led me to the Green Man store, which led me to YouTube.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But evil exists. And even though evil exists and try to get me, right? Oh, we're going to get you, right? God didn't let evil get me. I might have fallen because I was like, oh, I'm in a devastating spot and I got to go live in a wee house. I might have fallen, but God was like, get up, get up. There's a store right down the block that you could walk to. No car fare, no gas. You could walk there every day, walk home, yada, yada, yada. I stayed there for 6 years until they fired me.
Everybody gets fired eventually. I mean,
girl,
I can't say anything because, I want to say, well, maybe not every job, but I think when people make your environment so difficult for you, you say, I quit, that's kind of like being fired.
It's kind of, you just fired yourself. You're like, I'm coming in and I'm firing me today. I'm not even going to give you the pleasure. I fire me.
Pretty much, yeah.
And that's another good point. Gotta keep up your sense of humor. You have to. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to know there's something devastating, because that's the other thing about metaphysical people. We have devastating things happen in our lives. All right?
We do.
And, somehow or another, in all the crazy, thank God there is a little bit of crazy. Because we always make it through.
I think, yeah, exactly. It's the crazy that keeps you going.
Yes. Most metaphysical people have, issues with others because the light either shines lovely on you or it burns the shit out of you. Right? Yeah. Yeah. And so when you find someone that has an aversion to you, your light is hurting them.
Yeah. And that's weird as well, because I've often wondered, so sometimes there's been people in my life where I've encountered when they've been really quite unpleasant to me and negative for absolutely no reason.
Yes.
And I wondered, like,
what the hell did I do? Yes.
It made no sense. It was only after re-exploring, as I said, my spiritual side, I began to realize that maybe my vibrational frequency was a bit higher than theirs,
Yes,
because I couldn't understand why they would possibly be jealous
for
of
no
me.
reason. But
For
yeah,
no reason.
like no rhyme, no reason. Like, hello, I'm a good person, people. What do I have to do to convince you of it? And I joined a neighborhood council, and I already
Yeah.
knew they weren't going to get along with me, right? And so there was this big celebration, and I went over to the neighborhood council, and I said, of course, my dumbass, I said, I'm going to become one of you. And they were like, and I was like, I'm going to become one of you, right? And I said, there's an election coming up and I'm applying. And they were like, oh, is there an election? Is there an election? And I was like, you people. But I was like, kind of like trying to be humble, but it didn't work out very well because I do have a lot of attitude in my face. And a woman turns around and she goes, what's your name? And I said, Tracey Brown. And she goes, oh, yeah, we got your application. And I was like, oh, thank you. And I looked at the two people and I was like, okay, I'll see you guys at the election, which meant I was competing against them.
Mm-hmm.
So right away,
Yeah.
they didn't like me, but I set that up. Like I kind of did it on purpose, right? I failed the election. I failed.
Yeah.
And I'm going or coming back from vacation with my son and my daughter-in-law. And I get an email and they go, somebody dropped out, but we can appoint you.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, yeah, baby. So I filled out the application, took a picture, sent it back to the email. And it's just so funny when something's meant to be, it'll be. But sure enough, I joined this neighborhood council and I was like a brick in water. I did not fit in. But it was okay because the people that liked me, they were like, oh my God, you're so adorable. And the board members, I was a part of the board members, they were like, ugh. And I was like, I can't help it. Ultimately, they understood that I definitely was different and definitely goofy, but definitely like knew my shit, but didn't always follow through with my shit. It was really funny. In the end, guess what happened, Sherryton? I always go to the Martin Luther King parade, which is a big deal in my town, right?
Right.
Every year I go, I say to Spirit, to God, I want to be in that parade. But I figured I'd have to be a vendor or something like that because that would have been equal to me, right?
Yeah.
Because I was a board member, I rode in a car. I got my wish. I got my wish. And just in time, because the following year was COVID, so there was no parade. And now I'm in Caribbean. So I had this window to get that wish through. But Spirit was like, girl, that's an easy wish. All right.
Yeah.
Enough about me. So I just wanted to acknowledge Lottie, who is telling me that she's from London. Am I hearing that right, Lottie? You're from London too?
Oh, wonderful. Hello, Lottie.
Lottie has been so dedicated. And she knows I'm a spicy bitch. I'm spicy. And she also knows when I go on my tangents with black, white, she just allows me to be. And I love that she is one of my many allies. Because she's an ally in spirit. She's not trying to have all this racist crap. If I could tell if Lottie could just end this, she would be like, ciao, magic wand, end the racism. But she's an ally in spirituality, regardless. And that's what I'm about.
Yeah.
Oh, Aoife Shay. Hi, sweetie. Hi, Aoife Shay.
Oh my gosh. Wait a second.
Oh, look at this. I don't even know who this name is. P44 Chippo. Thank you, sweetie. Shout out to Lottie.
Hi, Lottie. Hi, Marie.
Sheridan said hi, Ifashay. I talked over her, so it was very low.
Hey,
All right, sweetie. Oh, you look extraordinary today. Thank you, Labab. I try. First of all, let me just tell this last story. So there's this guy that I've been hanging out with.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, meeting someone new is so uncomfortable. I'm not good for it. I wish I could just, you know, do the magic wand and be like, you're the one, and that's it, right? So meeting someone is awkward, and I'm awkward. And I tend to be really quiet, which is misleading. Because I can slap a bitch. But because I'm so quiet, they think I'm like this damsel in distress, and I'm not. I'm just really, I only have two personalities. I say nothing and observe the room, and I could do that for hours. I could do that for days. I could do that for years. When I go into a room that's unfamiliar with me, I zip it. And I study the room. Once you know me, you can't get me to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because he's seeing the damsel in distress personality. And I don't know how to present the other side. But he was driving me home the other day, and we were talking about signs. And he seems to be like, I know everything about the Caribbean. But I'm learning the Caribbean, but he did teach me a lot just in a few days that we were hanging out. And so he's driving me home, and I said something about a particular building name. And I said something about the name of the building, and he corrected me. He goes, no, that's the name. That's the building that's named. And I said, no. The building is around the corner. And then when he passed it by, I was like, there's the name. That building is called that. The other building is this, that, and the third. And so he saw like that side of me, which it's not, I'm trying to hide it. It's just that when I get irritated, I'm like, boom, I switch. And so he sent me a text that was like, I think he was trying to say sorry, because I finally had to say to him, I'm not a virgin. I told him. I let him know I am not a virgin. Don't get it twisted. So he sent me a video, and it says how forgiveness can change your life. I think he was trying to say sorry, but instead sent me a video that said how forgiveness can save your life. I don't know. It is what it is.
I'm saying nothing. I don't know the guy. It's not to make a psychological evaluation of him. I'm saying nothing.
One day we'll do a psychological evaluation on him. In book club. We will. So, Miss British Invasion, what topics are we talking today? I'm so excited.
Well, you see, oh, crumbs. I'm sorry, but I have the urge to discuss some of the topics that have been coming up over here.
Absolutely.
Right now, my country is in crisis. And the reason why I say it's in crisis is because normally an administration comes in and they can go out. And although they would have done some damage, the damage can easily be rectified by a new administration coming in. However, hello, Kiana. However, in this situation, the damage that has been caused is damage that's going to last decades.
Mm-hmm.
And although we did vote, not by a huge majority for Brexit, but you know, a minority vote, because it just went over the line. It was 48 versus 52. So we did vote for Brexit. What happened later after that vote is then people began to realise the level of damage that would have been done. And there was a great reluctance because of the divisive nature of what was happening in Parliament, because Parliament practically came to a standstill. Because of that, there was a great reluctance to say, let's have a second referendum, this time one that's legally binding, that takes into account the different forms of Brexit. So we could have had a clean break, or a Brexit where we were on softer terms, what they call a soft Brexit, or we could have stayed. But they were very worried that people were going to begin to realise just how much damage it would do. So they decided they didn't want a second referendum. And obviously the people who are staunchly against Brexit, they made it very clear that they didn't want that either. So when we had the general election in 2019, which really should never have happened, but Jeremy Corbyn was feeling himself, so they let that go ahead. That meant that we were going to have a very hard Brexit. Now, we had coronavirus, which was incredibly damaging.
Which was unexpected on top of everything. Hold on a second, Sherryton. IG, I'm just going to go ahead and delete you. I'm not delete you. I'm going to post this. But if you want to see the full reading, I have Sheridan from London. So you're going to have to watch it on YouTube. She's actually talking about what's going on in London, because our news is not reporting what's going on in London. I'm going to encourage you to look at the YouTube channel, because what's happening over there is preceding what will happen here. And it is a mess. It's a mess. So we're going to do readings on London, on Britain, and we're going to figure some things out. But I want you to respect that what's going on in another country is not too far from us. And our people are not reporting it, Sherryton. They're not reporting China's problem. They're not reporting London's problem. And it's major. So I want you all to go watch it, because I want you all not to be scared. I want you all to be prepared. All right? So I'm going to go ahead and end this. Come on over to YouTube. Bye, guys. Okay, so go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so then as I said, coronavirus happened and everything, and obviously that had a huge hit on the economy. But previous to that, in 2019, what had happened was Boris Johnson, he prorogued Parliament. Now that means that you basically bring Parliament to a standstill. You say there's no more Parliament, so you can't vote on anything, you can't pass any legislation, there is nothing you can do. It literally locks Parliament's hands. And the only way to do that was by telling the Queen that they wanted to close down for the season. We have a season around October where the Conservative Party, which is the Tories, they have their annual gathering, and the Labour Party have their annual gathering. So all the major parties have their annual gatherings in October, and Parliament is closed temporarily for that.
Right.
However, what they did in 2019 is they tried to close down Parliament so no more legislation could go through, because Boris Johnson was losing vote after vote after vote in the House. And they did that by getting the leader of the House, a Jacob Rees-Mogg, to lie to the Queen. Because she's the one who's head of state. So she's the one who says, okay, it closes. She does not get directly involved in politics, but the ministers, they will tell her whether we're closing Parliament, we're opening Parliament, we're doing this, we do that. And she basically just rubber stamps it because it's a constitutional monarchy that we have.
Right.
They lied to the Queen to close Parliament on false pretenses. So this is like a indication of what the future holds. So going forward now, we're in the time of COVID.
Right.
At first, the government is telling us there's nothing to worry about, nothing to see here. Don't wear masks. Masks don't work. There's no proof, blah, blah, blah.
It was happening here. Yes.
Precisely. And then in, I think, late March, around late March, that's when we locked down in late March. And then we were locked down for most of the year. And from there, all the misinformation starts, where a lot of people who maybe have a medical background like myself are saying, hold on a minute, they're saying that masks don't work. That doesn't make sense. I worked on an infectious diseases ward. So I know masks work because I would go into the room with the patients. I'd have my gloves on, I have on apron, I'd have my mask on. That's what you do. So I knew they were lying. I knew they were lying. So because of all the lies and the misinformation, it means now that we're a country who has very little trust in our government. And now we have the whole anti-vaxxers situation happening, and people are
talking y'all got the anti-vax issues over there too.
Yes, we do. Wow. But it's not so bad because the majority of people, or should I say the majority of adults in the country, are double vaxxed. And some are going for their third vaccine, the booster.
Okay.
But it's hit us really hard in Britain. When it comes to the amount of people who've died in this country, we're the worst performing country in Europe. The official figures are 144,000 or thereabouts deaths from COVID, right? And at the moment, we still have about 1,000 people dying every week from COVID. Unofficially, the figures are higher because if you go to the Office of National Statistics, it's more like about, I think it's more like about 180 excess deaths, 180,000, maybe higher than that. I can't quite remember, but it's pretty high. It's pretty high. And we're the worst performing country in Europe. So there's all that. However, what makes it worse now is this year we had Brexit. They finally signed the deal and, well, the bare bones of the deal and said, okay, Brexit. What happened then is we had the issue with toilet paper before, where everyone was going crazy with toilet paper during COVID. And we did have a few.
You guys had that too?
Oh yeah, it was crazy. We did have a few empty shelves, but after Brexit, let's say COVID was the warm-up. Brexit was what happened next. After Brexit, trying to find fresh fruit and vegetables in the shops became very, very difficult. Trying to find meat products became very, very difficult. It got to a situation in supermarkets where they would put in products that they had plenty of, even things like red wine, in the fridge where the meat's supposed to be.
Mm,
You don't put red wine in the fridge. Red
I
wine is not
got
supposed
you.
to be drunk filled.
Right.
For the most
But
part.
they're covering
There is
up
some-
space. They're covering up
They
space.
try to cover up space.
Yeah, yeah.
Then
That's
it got
happening
to a
here
point-
now, by the way.
Yeah.
Like
But then it got
everything
to
you're
a
talking
point-
about, we're right behind you.
Right. But then it got to a point where they gave up. They were like, you know what? We don't have any food. So let's show you pictures of food. So you go in to buy some courgettes, and there's no courgette, but there's a beautiful picture of courgettes, where the courgettes used to be. So you go into the fresh fruit aisle and fresh vegetable aisle, and you'll find lots of pictures of fresh fruit and vegetables. Of fresh fruit. But there's no fresh fruit and vegetables, and there's no fresh meat, or there is, but very little.
Right.
It turned out that when we closed our borders,
Mm-hmm.
a million people left. They were the people who used to pick the fruit and vegetables. They were the people who used to work in the abattoirs and
Oh.
animals. They were the people who used to butcher the meat and prepare it. They were the people who used to work in the factories, like doing things like chicken,
I love it.
and meats and all that stuff.
Oh.
Those people, they left. They buggered off. And so then we had the fuel shortage, where the petrol, you Americans call it gas, petrol shortage. We don't actually have a shortage of petrol. We have a shortage of drivers for the tankers. So when it came to people going to the petrol station to say they're going to fill up their tanks, we now had no petrol in the petrol station because we didn't have the tanker drivers to drive the tankers because they all buggered off as well. They left. So we had no tanker drivers and we had very few drivers when it came to doing food distribution. So we had farmers having to throw their milk into the river because there was no tanker drivers to pick the milk up from the farms and take them to the factory.
My God. Oh my God.
Had the animals being culled, I think first there was 50,000 pigs, or was it 70,000? Then there was another one, there was 120,000 pigs being culled, not because there was anything wrong with the animals, but because the farmers could no longer afford to feed the animals because the animals would be taken to the abattoir to be slaughtered for food. There were not enough people in the abattoir to do that. So I think it's about 200,000 pigs have been culled, probably higher than that now. Then there's loads of cows that have been culled for the same reason. Then there's loads of chickens and turkeys. Normally we have a homegrown meat market where everybody buys British meat. We can't buy British meat anymore because, as I said, there's nobody to
catch the birds, collect the eggs.
So all these animals are now being culled. They're being culled. They're being killed and set on fire. Now, regardless of whether you're a vegetarian or not, there is an argument to be said that even vegetables, they grow out of the ground, they have life, they give us nourishment. It's the circle of life. These animals have been killed because the farmers cannot afford to feed them and they're an inconvenience. Instead of being killed for food, which granted, I mean, to the animal, it probably doesn't make much difference. It's about honoring nature. Honoring nature. And saying thank you to the animal that's passed so that I can live.
Right.
That to me is obscene, and this is what we've been doing.
Oh my
This is
God.
what's been happening. And if that wasn't enough, we now no longer have enough chemicals to clean our water. We had a
What?
very, very, very strong, yes, this is true. We had very strong environmental laws, which meant that water companies, if they have overflows and they're letting the water into the rivers, the water has to be cleaned. What has
Yeah.
happened is that since Brexit has happened, we don't have enough chemicals to clean our water. The government has given the go ahead for water companies to release raw sewage into the sea and into the rivers. This is a major environmental catastrophe.
Oh, you're not going to be able to eat fish in a minute.
I don't want to eat British fish. I don't want to eat. I can't see myself tucking in to any rainbow trout anytime soon.
Right.
Not British rainbow trout anyway. I don't want to eat that stuff. And to be honest, I don't think the Europeans want to eat either. And I don't blame them.
Right.
People have been catching E. coli because they've gone swimming in rivers where water has been released. There was a huge thing about it, and then the government said, okay, we're not going to allow the companies to do that anymore. But the damage has been done.
But you had laws. You had laws.
You know when they're not doing that kind of thing? The EU. They don't let you do that in the EU. So we've got our sovereignty back, and we are now
So
allowed to.
can I get maybe a clarification? Maybe I'm missing something. Did Brexit actually happen?
Oh,
Are you
yes.
guys separate from the EU?
Yes. We can tell that because when our fishermen and the farmers who all voted for Brexit, they were talking about getting back English fishing waters and British fishing waters. And the farmers were saying, oh, we can have new avenues, new revenue streams. They've all suffered drastically. A lot of them used to import to the EU. They can't import to the EU anymore, or at least not in the way they used to. There's so much
Right.
red tape that is actually very difficult for them to now export to the EU. However, EU imports have gone up. The other day, I bought some Danish pork. I've never eaten Danish pork before.
So what's the question?
The questions that I really would like to know is how long is Boris Johnson going to continue clowning around the world and embarrassing our country? In other words, how long is he going to continue to be Prime Minister? Because I haven't even gotten to what's happened recently. What's happened recently is there has been a major corruption scandal. It came out that one of the MPs, a Tory, a Conservative MP, was illegally lobbying on behalf of private companies. And due to his illegal lobbying, he got them contracts of nearly £500 million.
Okay.
For the wonderful price of, I think it was £124,000 a year. And that's not the worst of it. Our government took £37 billion of taxpayers' money that was supposed to be used for fighting COVID.
Oh, wow.
And basically took that £37 billion and spread it around to their friends and families by giving them PPE contracts and various other contracts.
Yeah, we had that problem. We had the same problem. Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they were fast tracked. So what would normally
I got you.
happen is we have the NHS and they have a list of certified suppliers who supply these sorts of things at the right grade, on the right level. But Johnny come lately just turned up and was like, oh yeah, he drinks in my pub. So he gets a contract. And then there's another next guy down the road. Oh yeah, he's a mate of mine. He gets a contract. Oh yeah, my sister-in-law and husband. They get a contract.
That's corruption.
£37 billion. If they had given every man, woman, and child in this country 500 quid, that's how much 37 billion is. And I think we probably still have some money left over.
Mm.
So the corruption is the next thing. We have MPs who are elected officials to government.
Yeah.
Who are paid and working for foreign governments against this government. And Mr. Cox, I can't remember what his first name is, he spent 4 months in the British Virgin Islands working on a case, defending the British Virgin Islands from the British government over, would you believe it, corruption. They paid him £1 million. 4 months work.
Uprising.
Meanwhile, he's an elected official of this country. He has constituents in this country who needed help at the time, but he wasn't in this country. He was in the British Virgin Islands for 4 months. So the question is, who do you work for? Because if I'm paying you £82,000 a year, and they're paying you £1 million or £100,000 a year, who do you work for?
Right.
So,
okay. So let me tell you that the worst cases out here is in the British Virgin Islands. The worst COVID cases.
Oh, okay.
The worst. And I don't think they're decreasing like over there. It's really bad. All right, so let's check it. How long will it take? What's the question?
Yeah. How long will Boris Johnson continue to be Prime Minister?
Okay. He's a finesser though. He finesses well, whereas the others didn't finesse as well. I can tell you that much.
Oh yeah, very much a Gemini. Very much a Gemini. He has the gift of the gab, for sure.
Yes. Is he really our version of Trump though?
In many ways, yes, he is. I mean, this is his third wife, and he's never been faithful to any woman. You don't know how many other children he has outside of his marriages.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he does love a bit of totty. He does love a bit of totty. I don't think he's not quite the kind of bloke. I think he's just gonna walk up to a woman and grab him by, you know what. I don't think he's that type of bloke. But he does have a certain charm. So he's quite charming. I'll give him that. He's quite charming. And he doesn't mind making a fool of himself to get what he wants.
Yeah. And they seem to have the same hair even, and the same color hair. Like, how's that even possible?
Did you know that Boris Johnson was actually born in America? He was born in New York. I'm not lying. His father was an ambassador, and he was born in New York.
Oh. What the irony of it all? What the irony of it all? All right. Someone says Boris's godfather is Trump. Trump is Boris's middle name. That is too funny. Lottie, when we all get a politician in charge who generally has a depth of love and personal honest character, when will we get? I got it. So Lottie agrees with everything. Hi, Spirit Knows Tarot. Hi, ladies. So glad to catch you live. Thank you. Oh, Infinite says, London is falling down. It reminds me of the song, London Bridges. That's a song. London Bridge is falling down. It's happening again. The British government are reckless and inhumane. Infinite, are you also from over there? The government is purposely pushing them for the action. Oh, you can go ahead and do your thing. Get prepared. And I'll just read everything. Their government is purposely pushing them for the actions of the radicals who are protesting for Brexit. Who are protesting for Brexit, which they are in a right to protest their land. COVID just increased. What was to come? I don't know, sweetie, but that's a good question. Okay. And the star says, hi, Sherryton.
Hi.
She's in group.
Okay. The face looks familiar.
Yeah, it's in the stars. Billy.
Oh, Billy. Hi, Billy.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Ebony. Good health, everyone. Oh, Infinite says, no, I'm in Toronto. Well, my father and other relatives live in UK, but isn't Toronto owned by the British government? Am I mistaken as to what that looks like, guys? Help me out.
That's Canada.
You would get UK news because there's either they own Canada or there's a very tight, close relationship with Canada. But I think they own the territory of Canada. So while Sherryton is doing that, if you want your own personal reading with me, subscribe to have a psychic reading with me at 213-458-7408 or go to TraceyBrown.com. All right. Get that out the way. Yes, we are part of the Commonwealth. Thank you. Thank you. I try to know my history and politics. It's not easy. But thank you, everyone, for coming on. Just give a shout out, Sherryton, when you're ready. But take your time. Hi, Sylvester. How are you?
Right.
Oh, Paris is saying, oh, ciao. That's a good question. Basically, it's just not a good time to visit.
Let me see. The pound is down, so actually it might not be a bad time to visit.
But you can't eat anything. You can't eat anything.
Oh, you can eat. You can eat, but it's imported from the EU, so the food's good. Don't worry about the food. The food is fine. It's all coming from the EU.
Got
it's not our food. Right. Let's see. Oh, crumbs.
Oh my goodness! Nice. Don't be mad at me. You have such an odd name. Did you change your name recently? Tracy, what you mean you don't know me? I've been writing with you for a very long time since you started on YouTube channel. Aw, I follow you on Twitter too. Oh, then you must have followed me on Periscope. right? Do you mean Twitter Periscope? I miss Periscope. Let me know when you're ready. Amanda Tribe got to get checked too. Check him out too. I'm just trying to read everybody. Okay. See what the new comments say. I think this was all orchestrated to keep the country conservative, Brexit, and all the BS going on recently. They were putting people on planes to fly them back to their countries. God help. Yeah. My background is from the Caribbean, so I know UK is evil. Yes, they are. No more evil than the American, you know, we're pretty disgusting here. Just disgusting.
Okay.
Sherryton's getting in his zone. Getting in his zone. She's hugging with herself and her spirit. She's getting in his own.
Okay. Right. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That's what I thought. Okay.
Let me know when you're ready.
Oh. That one. Okay. I've got right. Okay. You're gonna see why I've been so reactive.
Okay. So I'm gonna spotlight you. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you. There you go. Go, sweetie.
All right. Okay. First card that I have. Oops. Is the devil.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, not that I'm calling Boris Johnson the devil or anything like that, although he is a randy little thing. But I'm not calling him that. But that's telling me that there's a training to an idea or an ideology. It's not for the greater good. The training is not for the greater good. There is, for better words, for a better term, devilry about this.
Right.
That's the first card. The second card shouldn't really be a surprise to anyone. This is the rash, feckless, irresponsible, ill thought out ideology or people who are not thinking straight. And that's what crosses the devil card. Shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, really. Now, at the base of the reading is imprisonment. This is a prison of our own devices. We made the bars. We created the locks. We locked the door and threw the key through the bars. We can release ourselves, but it's understanding that you are actually confined, that you are in prison. And I do not think the understanding is there because feckless, reckless, irresponsible, enthusiastic over the wrong things. So there's all of that.
Right.
Now this card surprises me that it was in the past, because to be honest, I would have thought it was in the future, but maybe that's not so bad. I don't know. It's the 5 of Pentacles. This is penury, being left out in the cold, freezing on the outskirts, no money, broke, begging. And at the moment, we're begging for trade deals.
Yeah.
And the only trade deals we seem to be getting are ones that benefit the other party. They don't really benefit us. They don't add anything to our economy. We're not increasing exports of cheese to Japan. If anyone knows anything about Japan, they don't eat cheese. They don't eat milk products. So that's, you know. Now, I do get the impression that maybe things can improve with a person who genuinely cares. On the other hand, I feel that this is not a positive King of Cups. I just don't feel it's a positive King of Cups. A positive King of Cups is normally like a father figure, someone who cares and who looks out for you and looks after you. I don't think this is a positive King of Cups. I think considering all the other cards that have come before, I'm not seeing that.
What is Boris sign?
Boris is a Gemini.
So can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Where is the King of Cups before and after?
The King of Cups is in the 5th position.
What's before it? Before it is the 5 of Pentacles.
It's the 5 of Pentacles, yeah.
And what's after it?
What's after it is the 10 of Swords.
So that's what it means. It actually means that guy in the middle creates the 5 of Pentacles and the 10 of Swords. It doesn't mean he's a kind person. It just says this is the person that's going to rip this country apart or assist in it.
Yeah. Sleazy. Corruption.
There you go.
Dodgy dealing. Behind closed doors, dodgy dealing.
There you go. There you go.
I'll get you a contract for 500 million. You give me 100,000, but in a numbered account somewhere else, you put in my text. Now, that's allegedly. I'm not saying that has actually happened, but it doesn't make sense that if you're going to get a government contract for hundreds of millions of pounds, that all you're going to get is a couple $100 grand.
Right.
I'm just saying, logically speaking, it doesn't make sense. Not that it can't happen. It's perfectly plausible that it can happen, but it doesn't make logical sense. I don't know. I actually don't know. But yes, the next card is the 10 of Swords. So this is inevitable disaster. It's happening. This cycle will come to an end. This will not continue for much longer. Well, should I say Boris won't continue for much longer. He's coming to an end. And no, he's still alive. I'm just saying, in politics, the Tory party are notorious. In fact, you know what? Looking at this, I see it now. The assassination is the knife in the dark. Nobody knows where it comes from. The Tory party are notorious for getting rid of leaders. If you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, trust and believe the backbenchers are ready. Then there's the people in the cabinet who are ready. The most popular, most best loved Tory leader since the Second World War was Margaret Thatcher. And that's exactly how they got rid of her. She came into the cabinet room and they said, Mrs. Thatcher, we no longer have any faith that you are able to run this country, that you are able to continue to be leader. Please resign.
Damn.
And even though the woman was a dragon, she had to go. They're going to, this is what's going to happen to Boris. His backbenchers and the cabinet are going to at some point take him aside and say enough is enough, you got to go. Later.
Oh, wow.
Go.
Wow.
The next card is the Page of Pentacles. And okay, I'm not as experienced or known as you, Tracy. But the feeling I'm getting,
What you feeling?
I'm feeling that this is another person, a younger person, a person with money. Rishi. He is the most popular Tory there is. He is the Chancellor of the Exchequer. I think he's going to be the next Prime Minister.
I'm excited. What's
Younger, Rishi Sunak.
Okay.
He's going to be the first non-white British Prime Minister.
What?
Rishi.
Damn.
He will be Prime Minister and he will come after Boris. They're going to have a leadership election. People like him. He's very popular. He's the most popular Tory official, MP. It will be Rishi Sunak. That's what I'm feeling. This is Rishi. Rishi with the money.
So why do you say Richie with the money? What does that mean to us?
Rishi, okay. All right, let me explain who Rishi Sunak is. Rishi Sunak is our Chancellor. He is in number 11 Downing Street. Rishi Sunak is the person who put through the £20 uplift to people in universal credit. Rishi Sunak is the person who put in place the furlough scheme for people who were unable to work due to they weren't able to continue to do their jobs due to the corona, right? Rishi Sunak is the person who has been giving money to the people, let's say.
Okay.
That's why people love Rishi.
Got it.
They don't recognize that Rishi is first and foremost a Tory, and he's not quite as generous as Boris, but he was Chancellor, and he made those things happen. So Rishi is very popular. That's why when I see the page, I see the younger man
Mm-hmm.
with a coin in his hand. Rishi is the younger man with the coin in his hand.
Got it.
He's dynamic, he's intelligent, but he's also watching how much money is spent.
Got it.
So he's watching all the pennies going out of the treasury and all the pennies going into the treasury.
Okay.
He's very much a Tory, and he's all about money. And he's about money. I think this is Rishi.
Oh my God.
Now, the next card is this one, the Three of Wands.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm looking at this card and I'm thinking that this is a waiting game. But for me, I'm also thinking this is looking overseas, because once somebody else is in charge, especially someone who's intelligent, not somebody who's tied to the same Brexit ideology, somebody who is in touch with observable reality.
Mm-hmm.
They will be looking and they will be thinking about how we generate income and capital in this country, because our major export has always been services. So the City of London was huge. The City of London is now bleeding and dying. So they will be looking to make moves abroad to expand on our exports, because we need some more money in this country. And the amount of people paying tax has gone down. And I'm just going by what I see here. The next card here is the Hierophant. So this is the government coming in.
Ah. Mm-hmm.
Now, let me just double check something, because I need to be sure about something. So let's see. Okay, right, the government. There is a concern that because of everything that's been happening, especially in the last couple of weeks, with the expose of corruption, there is a concern. Yeah. Okay. I'm getting that there's a concern about the government and about things falling apart, because this is more than just one party. This is about our party politics, because the party politics, or the fight between the two, has been what the basis of what's been tearing this country apart.
So say that again. Repeat that, just to speak a little louder.
Okay, it's something to do with the government and the party politics. Everything that's been happening in the last few weeks has brought things to a head in such a way that I feel like the concern is that party politics is ripping this country apart. There's going to be a change in party politics and how we deal with these things, I think. But that's a concern. Now, the desire and hope is that things go back to the way they used to be. Is that things become a little bit more traditional, a little bit more orthodox. Whilst it might be great to have a Tory party that's a little bit more touchy-feely, a little bit more, shows a bit more care for the people, at the same time, you cannot ignore the fact that they are a Tory party, and their number one people that they're looking out for is themselves.
Right.
They have instituted some changes recently with the NHS, and a lot of people don't realise that they're planning to privatise it. But the desire is to go back to the tradition. Now, my final card is the Emperor. The Emperor. All right, just give me a moment, Chelsea. I'm just going to look this up.
Time.
Oh. No. All right, my final card. I'm feeling that because this is tradition, this is control. And it's actually not bad. Well, maybe not great for ordinary people, but maybe great for the economy. The impression I'm getting when I look at all these cards together, because one of the things that I like to look at is I like to look at how many swords, how many pentacles, how many wands. I like to look at that. I like to look at their placings. And I think the story that I'm getting here is that this is the stabilizing force. Rishi's the stabilizing force. Rishi's looking abroad to see how he can increase trade, exports, not imports, exports. He's looking to return things back to how they were in a way that makes our politics a bit more stable. He wants to be a stabilizing influence. Obviously, ultimately, this is all about control. Now, the positive is that we will not be getting the crazy madness that Boris Johnson brought with him, or Brexit for that matter. The downside of that might be that things might be, the idea that things can go back to the way they were 2019 is still prevalent. That ideology is still prevalent. That's the worry.
Right.
That because things have changed. So if they're going to go and they're going to do this and they're going to try to stabilize things and get things back to how they were, and they're not taking in observable reality, it won't work. But if they are, then it can work. But I see that their fortunes change once we get a new prime minister.
Okay. Yeah, just real quick, meaning back to traditional life? or does the new prime minister bring much more to the table?
No, what I'm getting is not so much back to traditional life. I'm getting more back to the way of doing things. So instead of people getting government policy via press release, government policy will be discussed in Parliament.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The conclusions and arguments for and against will be discussed in Parliament, not via press release. The scandals and way that people deal with the scandals, instead of saying RMP got in trouble for lobbying, which is against the ministerial code, let's do away with the governing body, the outside independent authority that tells us what, that keeps us in charge, that charges us and says, okay, you need to fit this standard. The government body, the body that watches over and monitors and says if an MP needs to be penalised, says you're penalised. If you're in trouble, yeah. What Boris Johnson did, he said, you know what, this independent authority, let's get rid of it. And he passed a vote in Parliament to get rid of the independent body that is in charge of monitoring MPs' standards, the Standard Committee. And everything blew up because everyone in the country was like, how on earth can he, one, defend what this man did, and two, how can you get rid of the monitoring body, the Standards Committee, over an MP who has clearly done something wrong? Right. He's clearly acted unlawfully, and now the entire government, which is the ruling party, has voted that we should get rid of the Standards Committee altogether. That doesn't make sense. That is the very definition of corruption. I've done something wrong. Right. You told me I've done something wrong, and because you told me, I'm going to get rid of you. Right. So this is where I think the Hierophant comes in. Things going back to being a bit more traditional, a bit more orthodox, where we're not suddenly getting information about government policies via the newspapers. We're getting information about government policies via Parliament, in white papers where it's clear and it's seen. There's also the idea that the Conservatives are, well, they're Conservatives. So they're going to be going back to being a bit more conservative. Yeah, they're going to go back to being what we normally see as conservative. But that will be problematic, but that's for another thing. But yeah. So that's why I say I think it's going to be a return to traditional ideologies, a return to the things that are expected. And as for the sleaze, if someone is found to be corrupt, instead of saying, oh, we're going to defend him, it's going to be more likely we're going to say, yeah, he's got to go. He needs to resign. That's going to be a return to normality, I think.
Okay. Oh, child.
Sorry.
Don't apologize. That was deep. Very deep. I wish you could have seen what I saw. You went there.
Oh, okay.
So thank you. So let me look at what I see, even though I don't quite understand it 100%, but it does feel very similar to some of the issues that are beginning to show up here. So let me see if I can get it, right? So when I was shuffling, this card jumped out and I left it on the floor. Once you started breaking the system down, then this card makes sense. It's the shadow card. But look at the card, because this is a gamble. These are people playing games with people's lives.
Yeah.
It's not even a healthy gamble. It's like, let's throw something at the wall and see what sticks. And if I stick it better, I get my way. Like, it's sloppy in a very sophisticated kind of way.
Very, very. That's it in one. Sloppy in a sophisticated way. That
Yes.
describes everything about this government. That is the devil and the page of wands put together. Sloppy in a
Yes.
sophisticated.
Yes. Now, it's funny you should say the devil and the page of wands, because this guy does look old, the one in the gold. But I thought that this one was your page of wands too. The one in the gold. Because when you kept saying the money, and I was like, oh, it's the one in the gold. Not that he's an old face, but this has everything to do with money or gold, right? So that popped out. I get facing, we're talking about Boris, right? So facing fear, subconscious release, healing. I think the country can't heal unless they get him up out of there, right? I don't think the country can heal unless they get him up out of there. I get appreciation, spiritual and emotional reconnection. I think he has to go because the country can't heal.
No.
Emotionally, you all are, it's just unnerving how you all are feeling right now. And it's not just anger, it's everything. It's disdain, it's disgust, it's anger, it's sorrow, it's hunger, it's everything, right? But I do believe that if they get rid of him, it does bring a message of hope. So this is where spirit comes in and cures the nation, right? But I like, the people have to take responsibility. So if you want to heal, you guys have to do this. Like, the Brits have to, like, you have to speak up. You have to fight.
Yeah.
I do get positive movement forward. Love begins, right? And then movement, choices, and decisions. So a lot of money issues, a lot of agricultural issues, a lot of environmental issues. I don't know, beginning to have a lack of clean air again.
I don't think
You
clean
know,
air is as much an issue at the moment, but it could be. It could
it
be.
could show up again, because this is just a little bit of everything. And the gold represents money issues. All right. So then I get strength. You guys will definitely, like, you're strong enough to survive this. But I also think Boris thinks his ass doesn't smell.
Yeah, there is that.
So he is staying perfectly balanced on one leg, which nobody can do, right? I do get the magician, and I do believe this is who he thinks he is. He thinks he can pull the rabbit out of the hat and fix whatever, all right? I do get a woman here in the past. I think this is the queen.
Okay.
I think she dies. And I think that's the only time you all are going to get frantic and crazy and really have to deal with your issues. Once you don't have that, because once you don't have her, and it doesn't matter who's behind her, there's a transition. So there's going to be a moment in time where there's not going to be any royal official leader. And nobody has to listen to anyone who's not official. So just the way you said they tricked her, there's not going to be anybody to trick if she passes. All right? And chaos ensues. All right? So there's going to be some sacrifice here. I'm not sure what the sacrifice is, but it is for the greater good. That first brings on confusion. It gets people put in hiding, right? And now I see royalty showing up. All right? So maybe you all can't do anything until somebody's in place. But while you guys are waiting for that, it's a weird thing. Like, technically, you don't have to wait for royalty to be in place, but you have these protocols. And so the thing about it is, I think that the more they wait, then the more corruption occurs. So it's going to be the perfect time to create more corruption if the queen dies.
That's quite possible because the queen is a very stabilizing force.
Right.
She is, because there's
Yes.
been a number of times where you would think that our prime minister would have stepped forward and said something when the country was hurting.
Yeah.
There were times when the country was hurting, when we had Grenfell. You would have thought that the prime minister might have said something. No, it was the queen who came out. She was the one who came to the community. She was the one who went to the hospital. And people were just so touched that she cared enough to turn up. They were touched that Prince William and Kate turned up and visited with people and talked to people and asked them what can they do to help the community. Whereas the Prime Minister, Theresa May, she was too frightened to go there. Frightened of what, I don't know. Maybe she thought, oh, these aren't rich people or normally Tory voters. Maybe she thought they tear her apart. I don't know what the woman thought. But she did not lower herself to come. The Queen came, not her. And that's the we can argue about the royal family, but that's the actions of the role of the Queen is as mother of the nation. So it's up to her to show her face and be like, and show some sort of care. But if you're elected official, the Prime Minister makes it quite clear that you lot are beneath him or beneath her. You see, that's the difference.
Right. I think in this chaos, I feel like the chaos ensues for a while by design. By design. I don't think they're going to put anybody in place right away. Now, in this deck, these happen to be young, right? Yeah. I'm not going to say that Charles is not going to be king, right? I'm not going to say that. I think he's going to be king. I think the country doesn't balance itself out until William is king. I think Charles might get overwhelmed, or he too, it's either he doesn't make it as well, because COVID is still rampant, so maybe it could be a COVID thing, or maybe he takes over as leader under too much chaos. Like, it's too much. Like, Charles is good for traditional stuff, right? Not new world order, chaos. He was not going to know what to do with that. And they're going to have you guys are going to have high expectations of the leader of your country to get in there and participate. And what do you say, Charles? What do you say? And I feel like he's going to muffle his words.
It wouldn't surprise me if he did. Charles has gotten in trouble before for expressing views.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He's got in trouble before for expressing views. Not necessarily, you know, because they're not allowed to express any political views at all.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gotten in trouble for. And the thing is, it wasn't even what he said was particularly bad, but he's gotten in trouble for expressing views. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if Charles
it's just that if you have a country that's out of pocket and everybody's off their rocker, right, including the royal family, he's going to say something, people are going to be like, what? And then he's going to say something to fix it, and people are going to be like, what? Like, it's just going to be like dominoes with him, right? I think ultimately they've got to get the royal family in check, almost simultaneously as they get the country in check. I think the young kids have to take over.
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
All right. But remember, Boris is not here at this time.
No, he won't be.
All right. So even whoever takes over, by the time Boris is asked to leave, the place is a mess.
Yeah.
It's a mess. And, this chancellor has got a mess. It's a mess. Is he Obama-ish? Is he like Obama?
Is he like Obama? Well, he's not a bad-looking chap. He's young.
Is he black though? Is he black?
He's Asian. I think he's Indian, of Indian heritage. So he's quite dark.
India. Okay.
Well, he's not dark. He's like
It's okay.
like,
don't worry about the complexion.
He's about the same complexion as Obama, actually. Probably about the same complexion as Obama.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I kind of see where is he married yet?
Yes, he is married.
I think his wife is going to have a very prominent, structured role in all of this.
Okay.
What's her coloring?
I think the wife is, she is of European extraction. I think she's British. I think so. Because his wife, her father's a billionaire.
Okay, so she's white.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think I get that then, because this is a woman of wealth and never having to worry about money.
No.
But she's going to play a remarkable role in cleanup
Okay.
and be very, very close to the royals because she doesn't want the young royals to fail. They actually don't care if Charles fails.
Oh, actually, tell a lie. No, she is not white. She is Asian. Her name is Akshatamurti. Murthy.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah. Her father is a billionaire.
okay, because I wanted to say that she was ethnic, but then I got fearful. But she shows up as
Yeah.
ethnic to me, which is Asian as
Um,
well.
well, I don't know if you can see this. That's those. That's
Oh
those.
yeah, she's cute.
Yeah.
He's of the darker persuasion for India. Okay, so
Oh yeah.
she's not gonna let the royals fail, especially the young royals. So we're gonna have, if this comes to pass, like you say, this chancellor becomes prime minister, they're gonna be young.
Mhm.
They're not gonna want to deal with old fuddy duddy. I don't have new age in me, Charles.
Mhm.
So I really feel like there's a double downfall for Britain. I really feel like Boris has to go. I think if
Mhm.
Mum Queen doesn't get to stay, which she doesn't, I'm not killing her, guys. She's like 99 years old.
It's 95, 96, something like that.
I
He's an
mean,
old
we're just
lady.
there now. We're there.
Yeah.
It's normal because we're there now. This is where she should be sitting her children down and telling them what's in the will.
Absolutely, absolutely. And she should be enjoying her last few years instead of worrying about where everything's gonna happen, where everything's gonna go. You know, she's going through a hard time as it is anyway.
And I think she is stressed. I think she's taking full responsibility for Britain. And I
Mm.
think, she, like, I don't know if retiring's enough for her, right? Because now it's in such chaos, it almost feels like she can't retire. So I just think the stress of it all is just going to take her out.
Look, is she's a tourist. She looks like a tourist. Anyway,
Mm.
she is the type of person. This is from what I see of this the Queen. Dedication, duty,
Hmm.
always duty first.
Always.
You know, I think the Game of Thrones. Anyone who's into Game of Thrones, love is
Hmm.
the death of duty. Well,
Hmm.
duty can be the death of love,
Hmm.
and in her case, duty can be the death of love. And she
Yes.
takes her duty very seriously, and she will
Yeah.
take her duty to the grave. She will never retire. She'll step back from official visits and things like that, but
Hmm.
she will never retire.
Never. I agree.
Never.
I agree with you. Which is why I see her dying. Which I think what's going to be happening is you're going to have a poor leader like Boris. Um, the Queen Mom dies, and I don't know what comes first, the chicken or the egg. I just think when you have these leaders, like who's running the country?
That's a question everyone's been asking for the last 18 months, babe.
There
Who
you
is
go.
running the country?
Who's running the
Because
country?
nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
And my final outcome is the Six of Wands next to this woman, next to the Hangman. So let me read it because I just don't know as a final outcome. Usually it's a good card. I think it means victory. But in this deck, it kind of confuses me. So I'm just
Yeah.
going to read it and see what Six of Wands.
Mm.
It's victory, the likelihood of success, triumphant, wise decisions, diplomacy, conquest, resolution of problems. Finally getting the right combination of leaders. All right, the right stuff is coming through. If you have won a battle, you will achieve victory you deserve. Problems will be solved, agreements will be reached, good news is on the way, right? The thing that bothers me in all of this, though, and let's be clear about something, is that I got the Hermit here, right? And then I get victory. So I still believe things have to completely fall apart before they can come back together again. I think, Sherryton, that we could be looking at 6 years of drama. Not to say that Boris doesn't get to leave. Yes, he gets to leave. But nothing is fixable. So I'm not seeing any of this next year. And if it's not 6 years of drama, but I do believe it could be that long, to be honest with you, then it's up till 2027, right? So wait, we're 2021, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 20, it's going to be not until, because you all are participating in the Uranus and Taurus, and Uranus and Taurus isn't up until 2026. We still got years of this shit. Wait, is it up in 26 or 24, guys? I always get confused.
I think it's up about 26 or 25, but I can't remember.
I just think your country is, the system has to be ripped apart 26 or 27. Okay, I think it's 26. So I think it's 6 years. So I think what you all have right now just gets worse. I think then the Queen Mum dies. I think Charles takes over. I think he's a total fuck up. I think Boris leaves, and whoever comes in is trying their best, but it's so bad in the depths that to clean it up, it's so slow. And it will take like a genius mind. That's why I keep feeling like he's Obama, because when Obama came in, we were $1 trillion in the deficit. $1 trillion. That's where Bush left us. When he took over January 20th, we were in a recession, and Bush called the recession before Obama took over. That was mean. He didn't call it when he was in the presidency. He waited till like a month before, and he goes, oh, by the way, everyone, we're in a recession. And then everything fell apart, and it took us years to recover from that. That's the 2008 era. Yeah, no, 6 years, not 6 months, 6 years. Because what you're going to have to see is Queen Mum can't stay, then Charles has to take over, Boris has to leave. I mean, Brexit has never been cleaned up. Brexit took years. Brexit made prime ministers step down.
Yeah. Theresa
and now we see why they stepped down, because they saw this mess.
Poison chalice. Anyone, it wouldn't matter who you were. Anyone taking over after Brexit, it would be a poison chalice.
And that's what this is. Because you guys did finally exit, and look at what's happening. So then Charles is going to be a fuck up. It's going to be comedy. It's going to be pure comedy, because he doesn't, okay. It's one thing if you had your mother to argue with, right? Because that's all he does with his mother. It's like, you don't let me leave. I can make these decisions until you have to be in that position.
Yeah.
And then he's going to be like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. The people hate me. But you know, Sheridan, I think I always saw Charles not staying in that position.
He won't.
I think I've seen it from
agree with you.
years ago.
I agree with you. I think the majority of people have the idea that William is going to take over, not Charles. They're wrong, but they have the idea. And I think the reason why they have the idea is because people feel within themselves, for various reasons, that Charles cannot go distance.
Right.
Charles will abdicate, he'll step down, and
That's
William
what
will
I
take
mean.
over.
Thank you. I didn't know what the proper terminology was. But Charles is the one that wants to stand there. He doesn't want to lead.
Mm, mm, mm.
He does want to be king, and that's his only goal, not leading the country.
No, I think that once, I'm not saying that he doesn't have an idea of what it takes,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that once his mother passes, I think that's when he's really going to realize just
Mm-hmm.
how hard it really is.
Also, he never really got the proper training. His mom never trained him. His mom thought of him as a total fuck up from the time he was a
Mm,
little boy. So she
mm,
never put him in a place of, you're going to take over someday, son. You need to start doing this. You need to start acting that way. And he just wanted to have affairs and did this, that, and the third. And
And do
she
you want to
was
know
like,
something funny?
this boy is a fuck up.
And do you want to know something funny? His dad always thought that he was like that as well. His dad never thought much of him.
His dad
His dad
what?
never thought much. His dad never thought much of him. The only thing you're saying, I don't know for sure if it's the Queen, but I know that that's how Prince Philip always viewed him. That's how Prince Philip would always view
So
him.
we're going to have an inadequate man in a high position when all he wants to do is play king. That's it. That's it. William is very equipped to take over. And by the time William takes over, the country is going to be relieved. We're going to be like, oh my God. Simultaneously, I feel like the people that you're talking about, the chancellor, could also be in power. So, just to give me some time frame, how long is Boris' term? What's your term over there?
It's 5 years. He got voted in December 2019, so he has until December 2024, I believe. Is it 2024? Yeah, until December 2024. The
Okay,
next election is due that 2024.
June 2024. Okay, I do feel like,
Mm.
I feel like Boris and Charles will lead together for a minute.
Oh, okay.
If listen, let's go back. I, I feel like Boris is gonna lead. Queen Mom dies. I think there's a delay in getting Charles to be king. There's some weird delay for some reason. I think the country's just a mess. So they're like, we're not worried about a king, right? I think you Brits begin to realize that you put too much emphasis in this royal thing. I don't know if people are going to be starving. I don't know. But it's going to get to the point where it's like, no, we're not having this royal pomp and circumstance.
Yeah, the coronation. The
Coronation.
coronation.
So I think the coronation gets delayed. I think ultimately they're forced to do the coronation because Charles just wants to be king. He's like a 5-year-old. That's all he wants is a title. So eventually, I do feel like Boris and Charles is leading together. But if they get Charles into place, that means in the Brits' mind, they have a leader. So if they have a leader, then they'll get rid of Boris.
Okay, that's interesting.
The problem is that Paul Charles still cannot take the excitement of kicking him out or an election. Like, he can't take it. So they're looking at Charles to be like, hey, you're the leader of the country and we cannot do Boris. We need you to lead. And they're going to discover he can't lead. And there's two things that's coming out of this. Boris gets kicked out and either Charles has a COVID issue and he doesn't get to survive, or he's so inadequate. So either way, he's just not there. And this is where the children come in.
You see, the thing is, with the royal family, when they lead, their way of leading is at the back. It's in the shadows. It never leads out front, really. Only
say that again. No, hold on. You're talking too softly.
Oh, sorry. Their way of leading is in the back and in the shadows. It's never really up front. It's more about being a representation for the heart and soul of the people. Whereas when it comes to leading up front, that's when you have your prime minister and people like that.
Yes. But we're talking about a different era.
Yeah.
Like, nothing's going to be normal. You guys, I do understand what you said, because it makes sense in my cards, to get y'all back to tradition. Not until there's no tradition, right? So people aren't going to have the royal order. No, they're going to be like, you need to get the fuck out, Charles. Like, they're going to go crazy. And he's going to be so embarrassed and so inadequate. And listen, in the end, he's going to care about the country more to not stay there. But my point is, I think eventually William and the wife take over, right?
Yeah, I can see
and
that
William
easily.
and the wife take over with I believe, like you said, the wife of the chancellor, and I think they and the youth gets victory. And I got all of that from just one part. Hold on. I got all of that from just one part of the Six of Wands. Let me just see if I can find. All of a sudden, that's when everything hit. One word. And it was resolution. Resolution.
Resolution. That's a very powerful word.
Right?
That's a very powerful word.
Right.
It describes directly what is needed.
Yes. Right.
It describes directly what is needed.
So, with that being said, also the Six of Wands is like public recognition, right? Conquest, right? So that means Boris doesn't necessarily, like, he's gonna stick it out.
Yeah, because he has no shame. He has no shame.
He's just gonna be like, I'm just gonna sit here and I'm just gonna, I believe you. He has no shame. I think ultimately, I don't think he gets out in the election. I think he gets out way before that because I keep getting this chaos. I think they bring somebody else in, but then Charles is a problem. You know, it's a nightmare. All right.
Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah.
what they might do too is bring someone in temporarily and then have a special election.
That's definitely possible. That is definitely possible. Because what
Hmm.
normally happens is if a leader resigns, as soon as the new leader comes in, um, as soon as the new leader comes in, because the new leader will come in usually from being voted for by the members of the party. So you
Right.
can have membership elections all across the country, but they're
Right.
only for the Tory party to vote in who their next leader is. And the next
Hmm.
leader de facto becomes the head of government if their party's in government.
Mm.
So it's an election without there actually being an election. Because that's how we
Yes.
ended up with Boris.
Yes. Oh, that's
After
how you
that,
got Boris?
that's how we got Boris.
Oh, hell no.
And
That's
then,
coming up again. Yes.
oh,
That's going to come up
absolutely.
again. But I
Yes.
think this time it's not going to like you. So you got Boris at a special election.
No, we got Boris at a party election. So it's
Mm.
only the party that voted for Boris. So an average person, I
That
belong to
doesn't
the
make
Conservative
sense.
Party, Tracy. Let's
Oh
say,
my
let's
God.
say I went on the internet and I said, I want to be a member of this Conservative Party. So I type in my name, I give them, I don't know how much it is every year, right?
A
For my
fee. Yeah.
yearly membership in the Conservative Party. Then there's a leadership election. Boris Johnson has stepped down. He's resigned. But before he resigns, they have the run up to the leadership election. So all the Conservative Party members are told, right, they're having a leadership election. You got to come along to the club. So they go to the club and they all put their ballots in. They all vote for who they want to be leader, right? Who's up there? This person wants to be leader. That person wants to be leader. So they'll all vote
Oh.
for the and then over like a period of weeks, depending on how many people are actually in the leadership fight, then eventually they'll get down to two people and say, right, do you prefer this person over that person? You choose the person you prefer, and that person becomes party leader. If the government is in power at the time, so in other words, during a conservative government, that is how it is decided who is prime minister.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That is
And
crazy
then,
to me.
and then, only then, once you have a new prime minister in, then within a few months of the new prime minister being in, that's when you'd have a general election. So you might wait a few months, you might wait a year or so,
Got
but
it. So there
people
is a
want,
potential. Okay.
yeah, so people want, once they become, especially if you become prime minister that way, they want to get the public mandate. And if they want to get the
Mm-hmm.
public mandate, they need to have the election.
Got it.
So
Got it.
that's how we ended up with
Well,
Boris.
do you have a final outcome?
Well,
And what we're
I
going to do,
mean,
Sherryton, we're going to
yeah.
bring you back, right?
Oh.
Because you're going to be our British liaison.
Okay.
So get used to this, bitch.
Oh, crumbs.
Get used to this.
I was going to say, is there anything that you want to ask me? Because I've got my pendulum ready. Because I did draw a final outcome. I
Okay.
think that's the right final
Let me ask, who is from Canada? Lottie, do you guys have a question?
outcome.
Hi, Sky. Do you guys have a question for Sherryton. So maybe you can understand this, because I don't understand everything. What's the FH was that about yesterday? Jennifer O, Prime Minister Boris giving a speech about Pepper Flaming Pig. Yeah. And the country is in deep shit. What's happening? What is this Pepper Flaming Pig? I need to know.
Okay, basically, yesterday Boris Johnson went to a meeting of the CBI, that is the Chartered Business Institute. So we have all these businesses from across the country, the government, the Prime Minister standing in front of them, and he's supposed to be talking about British business and British trade and, you know, moving forward and getting involved in the green economy, you know, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
British excellence and moving towards the future.
Yeah.
This man decides to bring up Peppa Pig, right? Peppa Pig is a cartoon character. His child is a toddler, right?
He's so much like Trump.
His child is a toddler. His youngest child that he just had with his wife.
Yeah.
So they took the child to like a Legoland type place for little babies, right? They took, I think it's called Peppa Pig Land or something like that. So he goes there with the kids, and I think he was even riding on some dodgems or something. But the point is, so he goes there. So he went there the day before, and then he decides to go to the Chartered Business Institute and starts talking rubbish about Peppa Pig and how the world should be more like Peppa Pig, where everybody gets along, and how Peppa Pig is this invention, British invention, that's now worth £6 billion, and isn't that wonderful? But the way he's talking about it, it's just totally ridiculous. It's like you're talking to a bunch of infant school children.
I can't believe that.
It's nuts. If he wasn't talking about the frog, and what was the other thing he was talking about at COP26? Oh yeah, beavers. He was talking about beavers. Can you believe it? This man is talking about beavers. He's crazy. You can't make this up.
We just left that, and it's hilarious to me. We just left it.
And it's just starting again.
Oh. Breathe, everyone, breathe. Listen, someone does have a question for your pendulum, though. Are more countries, yes, it's for the pendulum spirit, pendulum spirit, are more countries going to remove Queen from the heads of state like Barbados is doing? Or did?
Okay. Will more countries remove the Queen as head of state from the Commonwealth? Will more countries leave the Commonwealth? Yes. Yes, there will be more countries.
Yeah. That's going to be a predicted it.
Yeah.
That's going to be a predicted
I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't even really need the pendulum for that one. Yes. Before I even did that, it's in my head, it was just like, yes.
Yes, so, spirit already got,
yeah.
That's why I was like, spirit pendulum. P44 Chippo, this is, if you want to, we could do this in a reading. If you want to do it quickly, we can always come back and do it in a full reading. Question, do you see the UK joining the European Union again?
Okay. Will the UK ever join the European Union again? That's a yes.
That's a what?
All right. That's a yes.
Oh, okay.
Will they rejoin the EU in the next 10 years?
10 years? You could have waited.
No, 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 not in the next 10 years. Not in the next 10 years. So it will be more than 10 years before we rejoin the EU.
Oh my God. That makes
And
sense
that
to
was
me because I
down.
see the 6 years. I see the 6 years of chaos and maybe 4 years of rebuilding, you know. So that kind of makes sense. Damn, go girl. Thank you. Sheridan, you are very, very good. I
Oh, thank
really
you.
appreciate your British information, right? You give us something that CNN doesn't give us.
Okay. Thank
Seriously,
you.
like I love doing readings on that side of
Mm,
the
mm.
table.
Well, Tracy, I'm very, very, very honored that you asked me to come on your show. I really am. I'm very honored. Thank you so much. And well, we'll see what happens next. But
Yes.
yeah, I hope I was able to shed some light on some things.
Well, I
You
think
were,
those that are British
mm,
really connected. They really got the deepness of what you're trying to say.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, what's your
good.
final outcome?
Right, this is my final outcome. I am not sure. Ooh, oh no, I don't know if this is really this to me. I'm not sure how this relates. Maybe I messed up the cards or something. I'm not sure how it relates. I don't
Okay.
understand.
We're gonna read it. Don't worry.
It's tender embrace.
Spirit got
Oh.
jokes. Spirit got jokes. See what it says.
All right. The key concepts here are compassion, warm-hearted care for self and others, sensitivity and empathy, benevolence and kindness.
Ah.
Um, Put your hand on your heart and breathe deeply, inhaling a sense of gratitude. Now, how do you feel? Keep doing this, tuning into the world around you, others you know, and even those you don't. Can you feel compassion for them? I know what this is about.
See, go for it. Oh, I knew it. Go for it.
It's about boat people. That's what this is about. I didn't tell you. The boat people. These are the people who are asylum seekers who risk life and limb to
Mm-hmm.
jump into rubber dinghies and try to cross the English Channel,
Mm,
one of the most dangerous stretches of water on the planet.
mm, mm. Yeah.
Compassion is an emotion of tenderness and sensitivity. It's a feeling of benevolence and reverence as you stand witness to the suffering of the world. Now is the time to reduce that pain and focus on compassion in all areas of your life. Today, do something deliberately kind for another. Even looking a stranger in the eye and smiling can make a world of difference.
Mm.
Okay. The questions to ask are, where do I need to be kinder and gentler? How can I serve? And in what capacity can I be in alignment with the solution to the suffering of the world? Today, make a commitment to practice self compassion. Release yourself from the burdens of perfectionism.
Mhm.
Allow yourself the grace to be human and do the same for others. It's not your
Mm.
job to tell other people how to express themselves. Even if you don't like the way the world behaves, today be kind, for no reason at all, and watch what miracles arise.
Now, the meaning of that card is powerful. We might not have gotten it in Two Horses Trying to Kiss. That was two horses?
No, elephants. Two elephants.
Two elephants trying to kiss. We may not, but that meaning, woo, child.
There we go. Yeah, two
Woo,
elephants.
child. So before I forget, everyone is asking, how do they find you?
Oh, right. Okay. Well, I am all right. I have like started a channel, but I haven't put any videos up yet.
That's right, you started a channel.
Yeah, I have. I've started a channel, but my channel isn't going to be so well. It's going to be about things like cooking, so how to cook healthy food on a budget, how to cook from scratch, and it's not going to be so many recipes. I'm going to be talking about things like herbs, spices, aromatics, and how you combine these things in order to make food. So if you literally don't know how to cook, that's what the channel is going to be about, how to cook. But there's also going to be another channel where we're going to just be talking about life and stuff, and probably stuff that's happening in the world.
Yeah. So I think I love the cooking, right? The cooking is like bringing a family together and, you know, talking, right? I love the cooking, and I love if you would consider talking about life while you're cooking, right? Like in between cooking, you could talk about politics.
Yeah, that is something.
Did we talk about this already?
I think you did mention to me that because you said to me that you've led an interesting life. You've been through some things, and
Yes.
You could perhaps inspire some other people and whatever.
Yes. I see it in the feed right now, Sheridan.
Yeah.
You have the light. You have it. You have the light. So when someone has the light, like you want to allow them to shine, because especially, okay, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about Americans, stupid Americans, right? We love the British accent. We love British people. We believe you are smarter than anybody else, right? I wanted to create an accent just so I could be like smarter. But my point to you is, you have the light.
Okay.
So we can't delay anymore. I think the people are calling.
It's all right.
Dun,
I've
dun, dun,
actually got one.
dun.
I've got one scheduled for tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm actually going to do one of my recipes. I'm going to be putting it up. And it's going
What
to be
is
one
your YouTube channel? Because now we gotta know.
All right. My YouTube channel is Show in the Ends, and I will spell it for you.
Hold on, let me
All
turn
right.
my phone down. I'll type it in. Spell it out loud.
All right. Let me get that for you. Sorry.
And you guys let me know if you find her channel. Do you have an IG?
No, I do not. I do not have an IG. I
Can
thought
you?
about doing IG years ago, and someone said, "Oh, you should do it," and I thought about it, and I didn't do it.
Okay, let's create an IG tonight.
Okay. All
Yes, because
right.
that's how people come into your DMs and find you and communicate with you. And I think what they're trying to tell me without saying it out loud, because they're like, oh, I don't want to upset Tracy. But I think what they're trying to say is they want you to do readings. That's what I think they're trying to say. And you're up there with no way for people to contact you.
Oh, okay. All right then.
Create
Well,
an
you know
IG
what?
tonight, and then I'll post it on YouTube. And I'll
All
post
right
it on a post.
Okay, I'll create an IG. Oh, crumbs. What should I use? I don't know what name to use. Crumbs. Okay.
What's the
Oh
name of
dear.
your YouTube channel?
My YouTube channel is Show in the Ends, and that's SHO SHOINTHE, and that's
Is that one
ENZ.
word? Is that one word?
I think so. Showing the ends. Yeah, it should be. It absolutely should be.
It
Let
absolutely
me.
should not be.
Um. Oh crumbs. This thing, man. Goodness gracious me! Every time you try to do something, oh, I don't know what's going on.
Okay, so let me help you out here. I posted it already, guys. Try to find her the best way you can. If you don't find her, I'll figure it out and I can
I.
post her link.
All right. Let's see. Let's see. Where is it? I'm just having a look here. Oh crumbs. Here we go. Right. Oh yes, here we go. Show in the ends, and it's EN. All right, okay, I'll spell it for you. That's show in the, and that's one word, and ends is ENDZ.
Okay, can I see it? It's driving me crazy. Can I see it?
Oh no, I am crazy. There you go.
No. You're not crazy. It's driving me crazy. Show. You keep moving away from me. Don't move away from
Sorry.
me. Okay. Show in the ends with the Z. And
Yes.
by the way, she just showed her Gmail, so just email her. Show in the ends.
Yeah.
Show in the ends. I just
Yeah.
posted it. That's what it says. Can you see it there?
Yeah. Ends.
Look,
Okay.
look. Is
Yeah,
that what it
that's
says?
it. Show in the
Okay.
ends. Yeah. And that's my
Show in
Gmail.
the ends. That's a very unusual name, but I love unusual names. Also, when you make your IG, Sherryton,
Yeah.
are you listening? Make
Yeah.
it the same name.
I will. I think that makes
Okay?
sense. I
Yes.
don't want to get confused.
Yes. Were you there when who's the young lady? Who's the young lady, guys, that went ham and was like, everybody needs to have consistency. Oh, wait, come to think of it.
Sounds like my mother. Hmm.
It's just escaping me right now. You guys, Sky, she said it to you. Sheena was like, everybody needs to have the same name all over all the platforms.
Oh, okay. Maybe I was there. I could have
You,
been
well, I think you only missed 1 week, and Lord knows it could have been a week that you weren't there. But she said that, and so let's keep it nice and consistent. I really like the unusual name, right?
there.
Unusual names are hot pockets, so you can be like, and it's called Show in the Ends. Like it works, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mine is Tracey Brown is 1,000 Tracey Browns, okay? So get your IG tonight.
Okay, I'll do it.
Don't even go to bed until you have your IG set up. So guys,
Okay.
check her IG tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. I'll do
All
it. I'll
right.
do it.
Let me get my final outcome here. It'd be really interesting if I got something similar. And I got mentor.
Ah.
Mentor, just as odd. Mentor right side up, which is passing on wisdom and refining a student's character. You know, without reading this really feels like Charles passing the baton on to his son, William. Without, like, you know, but I also think Parliament is going to be mentoring William separate and apart from his father, right? Because the transition has to occur.
Yeah, it does.
So I feel like they're going to, like, he's not just going to take over William. They're going to be like, okay, so this isn't working. William, we need to put you in training. And I feel like he could be in training to be king for a year. All the while letting Charles know, yeah, you can't stay here, but we got to get your son ready. All right. So mentor is based on the character, the Odyssey, to whom Odysseus entrusted the care of his house and the education of his son. See?
Odysseus, yeah. I get it.
Trusted teacher and guide in many forms of art, music, and spiritual practice. Passes on wisdom and refines the student's character. So this is apropos to my reading, which was William will be king at a very critical, chaotic, but by the time he becomes king, I think people are going to be so happy. They're going to be like, finally, a responsible man. It's like, they're going to be like, you're exactly like your grandmama.
Yeah, people love William. People love William.
They do.
No two ways about it. They love William.
I
they
see that.
His mum in him as well.
Yes,
because
I see that.
So much like but they love William.
All right, sweetie, I am tired.
My God,
reading to do.
Oh, crumbs, we've been on for ages.
Well, we were talking in the beginning. Like, it's just so much fun to talk. And then we did the reading. And then, then we had to, dissect the reading. And then we talk some more. And then do the final outcome. It takes a while. Spirit don't like to be rushed.
I did tell you I talk a lot. I told you I talk a lot.
You did. You did. And the peoples love it.
Oh, dear.
Parliament is very happy with you.
Oh. I don't know.
So I want you to Finnegan Begin Again. Finnegan Begin Again used to be a movie. It's one of my favorite phrases where it's like, I don't know what the movie's about. I saw the movie, but I don't know what it's about. But I love the phrasing. And so Finnegan Begin Again. This is your second win. It's your second life. Yeah. Enjoy.
I will. Thank you. And
it's only up from here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Tracy, for having me. Thank you for everybody for their wonderful comments, although I haven't actually read them. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you.
And do you have a PayPal?
I don't have a PayPal at the moment.
We'll see what you can do to invest in a PayPal, because over there, the only way to pay is through PayPal. You guys don't have it's the only way to pay.
I do have a PayPal account. I haven't logged in for the longest time. I normally use it for eBay. So
okay, well, as long as you have a PayPal account, that's how people can pay you.
Okay then. Okay,
so make sure your email address is attached. That new email address is attached to the PayPal account.
Yeah, that's an old. I'll probably just open up a new PayPal account then.
You don't have to. I'm not a
Oh, okay.
fan of switching over. PayPal's very funny.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you already have one established and it's in, fairly decent standing, I would, don't listen to me, but I would keep the account.
Yeah, because the only thing I ever really used it for was for eBay. That's what I
Yeah,
used it for.
you can add a new address or just give them a call and say, I want to add a new address so I can, exchange services, and
Yeah, yeah.
just let them know.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that then. I'll do that then.
I know
Well,
I'm making
anyway,
you
thank you very
uncomfortable, but oh well. Oh fucking well.
much.
Chop, 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 young lady. Chop, chop.
Yes, story. Yes.
Let's get that cooking and let's talk politics while you're cooking. It's going to be so much fun. Let's give
Okay.
life advice while you're cooking. It's going to be fun.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. It'll be
All
good.
right.
It'll be good. All right.
That's my
Okay. Bye,
job. My
everybody.
job is to push you. So I
No,
don't, I always do my job. Whether
look at.
y'all like it or not, I do my job.
I have no problem with people giving me a kick up the arse every now and then. I haven't got a
Yeah.
problem with that because
Yeah.
there are times when I definitely need it. So no problem.
But if you notice, the minute y'all are rolling on that purple brick road, I throw my hands up. After that, I just observe. I'm like, hmm,
Hmm.
hmm, hmm, hmm,
Okay. Hmm.
hmm. She's just inching down that purple brick road. And to give someone else credit, not to take anything from you, but Marie was on the show, right? Tuesdays with GroupMates. And it's just a perfect opportunity to showcase your gift, who you are. And Marie specifically said that we did it on a Sherry, hell, what's her name? Sherry somebody.
Oh, Sherry
Hold on.
Shepherd.
Sherry Shepherd, right. So we did on Sherry
I don't
Shepherd.
even know him.
Marie was very specific and she said, I think they're going to bring her back during Christmas. And that's exactly what's happening. They're bringing her back during Christmas before they go on hiatus. I believe they want the show to end on a big note because everybody loved her. And it's a predicted it. And the show did that. Like the ability for the group mates, and that's what I just want to tell everyone, for the ability for the group mates to practice every single Wednesday until they're no longer influenced by fear. And then bingo bango, Spirit will give you very specific details, like Spirit gave Marie, and it was like, damn. And she posted, by the way, on her IG. So go to @Marie_Nicole.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll do that because I must admit I'm not really much on social media. Because being over 40, what's this social media business? So,
Yes,
um,
but it is a whole thing. So now we can't
yeah,
ignore it.
something
It's a
I
whole
have
thing.
to. Yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
whole freaking thing. So let me just @Marie_Nicole
Nicole with a
with a
K.
K. And I'm gonna turn this down. So this is the predicted it. This is the predicted it on Sherry Shepherd. She just posted today. So you
Mm-hmm.
guys are amazing in a group. I'm so proud of watching you all develop. I had Tamara on twice. Twice.
Yeah.
You think the second time, the first time is enough, but I had an opening and Tamara was like, I'll do it. And I was like, bet. And she's got a couple of predicted hits, but I'm forgetting now because I tell everyone to make a record of their predicted it. It's so hard for me to keep a record of what you all are doing. So that reminds me, if anything comes to fruition on this show, please make a record of it. It takes 2 seconds to videotape.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
I will.
All right,
Absolutely.
I'm gonna let you go.
Okay. All
Thank
right,
you,
then.
everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Devontae said 40 and fabulous. Devontae says you'll do good. All right, love you all. Bye. Thank you. Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody. Bye.
Contact me via your own personal reading, 213-458-7408. All right, bye.
Bye.